Nvidia stock is up significantly in 2023 and 2024. So where is it headed in 2025? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. In doing so, I'm going to talk about the state of AI in 2025, in my opinion, and then I will show a valuation of Nvidia based on the projections. That's going to show the upside and price target for Nvidia stock in 2025. In 2025, in my opinion, the large companies like Microsoft, Amazon, OpenAI, Tesla, etc., they will continue to invest in the AI infrastructure, and it will be another 1 or 2 years before these companies realize whether the AI is monetizing well or not, whether the capex that they're spending right now is worth or not. So they will not know until the next couple of years. So in my opinion, they will continue to invest in the data center infrastructure, and the chips are obviously supplied by Nvidia. There is no other player in the discrete GPU sector that can compete with Nvidia. And the assumption is Nvidia can potentially ship anywhere between 60,000 to 70,000 GB200 AI servers that can cost anywhere between 2 million and 3 million per unit. So the 2 million unit is actually the NVL36, and the 3 million is NVL72 server. So in this snip, they're estimating $210 billion of revenue in 2025 from the AI chips, assuming that all 70,000 units are NVL72. And I don't think that's a very good estimate. In my opinion, there could be 60,000 of NVL32, 36 that can cost about 2 million each, and that will put the revenue at about 120 billion. There's a huge difference between 210 billion and 120 billion, right? So I feel like there will be a mix. So I will come to the midpoint of 165 billion. So in my opinion, Nvidia can potentially ship about $165 billion worth of AI chips in 2025. So is TSMC ready to produce these? Yes, they have significantly improved their manufacturing infrastructure, and they are ready to support Nvidia in this endeavor. And there were some issues with Nvidia's Blackwell architecture chips, that they are overheating, but it looks like that's not a very difficult problem to solve. It looks like they already fixed it. So there is no major issue in that. So let me move on to the valuation. And before that, I have to also look at the non-AI revenue. How much will that be? And when I look into the past year, for data center, we already estimated 2025 revenue as $165 billion, which is the midpoint. And in gaming, they made about $10 billion last year. Professional visualization, they made about $1.5 billion. In automotive, they made about another $1 billion. So total about $13 to $14 billion. So in 2025, I will estimate this as $15 billion. So in the valuation, as you can see on the screen, in 2025, I'm estimating $180 billion of revenue. Of course, it can be higher than this or lower than this, but I think this is a good midpoint. And I'm estimating a net profit margin of 55%. Currently, Nvidia's gross margins, as you can see on the screen, are in the order of 75%, and they were getting close to 60% plus operating margins and 55% net profit margins. In my opinion, this 55% profit margin will be even higher in 2025 because their revenue is growing significantly. They made close to $112 billion trailing 12 months in 2024, and from 112 billion to 180 billion is almost 50% jump. But the operating expenses will not increase that fast, right? So the operating margin should increase and the net profit margin should also increase, but I'm only estimating 55% net profit margin, with which they will make close to $100 billion of net income. Of course, they can buy back shares with this $100 billion of net income in 2025. With $100 billion, because they're already a $3.5 trillion company, they can probably buy about 3% of the stock back, but I don't think they will buy back that much because the stock is very high, right? So I don't think they will buy back, which is why I'm keeping the number of shares as 24.49 billion. With that, I'm also assuming a multiple of 50, the current multiple of 50 will continue because there is still growth. Of course, people can pay a higher multiple, but again, since there is uncertainty for 2026 revenue, 2027 revenue, etc., because a lot of that will depend on the AI monetization. For example, Microsoft is investing about $90 billion in AI infrastructure this year in 2025. If they do not get revenue from that, their stock will be under pressure and they are forced to cut their capex in 2026 and 2027, and that's going to impact Nvidia. So there is definitely uncertainty there for 2026 and 2027. So that's why I'm still keeping the 50 multiple, with which this company will be worth about $5 trillion in 2025. And when I divide the $5 trillion of market cap with 24.49 billion outstanding shares, I get a stock price of $202. Currently they're at $144, right? So that's about 40% gain in 1 year. And that's an amazing gain for 1 year. So in conclusion, currently Nvidia is at $144, and with my valuation I'm estimating $200 price target by end of 2025, which represents about 40% gain in 1 year, and I think it's worth the risk. The risk reward is very good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.